It started with a wrong number, or at least that's what I thought. One night around 2 a.m., my phone started ringing. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, but when I played it back, all I heard was breathing. Slow, uneven. Then a whisper. "I can see you." I blocked the number immediately. Didn't think much of it. But the next night it called again. Same time, same breathing, same whisper. Only this time it said my name. I couldn't sleep after that. The next morning I went to the phone store, changed my number completely. For a week, nothing happened. Then one night, my phone rang again. No caller ID. I answered, and a voice, distorted and calm, said, "You moved your bed closer to the window." I like it better that way. My stomach dropped. I didn't even realize until then that I had moved my bed that morning. I hung up, pulled the curtains, and turned off every light. Then my phone buzzed again. A text message. It was a photo of me taken from outside my window. The whispering mirror. It had been hidden in the attic for decades, covered in dust and shadow. When it was uncovered, the glass gleamed strangely, reflecting the room with a subtle shimmer that didn't quite match reality. The first time anyone looked into it, they thought they saw movement where there was none. A shadow flitted across the reflection, always just behind them. At first, it seemed like a trick of the light, but then the whispers began. Soft at first, barely audible, words that curled around the edges of the mind, names, secrets, commands. The whispers didn't come from anyone in the room. They came from the mirror itself. Those who listened too long found their own reflections smiling when they weren't. Eyes shifted, lips moved. Sometimes the reflection would blink, and the person wouldn't. Hands reached out, pressing against the glass from the other side, though no one stood there. Eventually, the mirror was covered again. But late at night, anyone near it could still hear the faintest whisper. "Look deeper. Look deeper." The cabin in the storm. Rain hammered against the roof, each drop a sharp drumbeat in the otherwise silent forest. Lightning lit the sky, revealing a small, abandoned cabin tucked between twisted trees. The door creaked open with the wind, and inside shadows moved as if they had their own life. The fireplace was cold, but a faint smell of smoke lingered. Something scraped along the walls. Slow, deliberate. The windows rattled, and between the thunder, faint whispers floated in the air. They weren't words anyone could understand, but the tone was clear. Warning. A figure appeared in the doorway, though no one had entered. Its outline wavered like a reflection on water, and its eyes glowed faintly in the dark. The figure didn't move closer, but it didn't leave either. It waited. The storm grew louder, wind tearing at the cabin, rain splattering through cracks. The whispers grew urgent, frantic. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanished, leaving behind only the cold, damp air and the echo of that one word, repeated over and over. "Leave." The forgotten room. The house was silent except for the occasional creak of old wood settling. Upstairs, a door had always been locked, hidden behind a faded tapestry. One stormy night, the lock gave way. Inside, the room was empty, except for the walls. They were covered in scratches, deep and furious, like something had tried to claw its way out. The air was thick and suffocating. A low whisper started, impossible to place, crawling along the edges of the mind. "Don't stay. Don't stay." The temperature dropped. Frost formed on the floorboards, though the windows were closed. Shadows gathered in the corners, moving in ways that defied logic. And then the reflection appeared. Not in a mirror. No mirrors were in the room, but in the darkened corner. It was the shape of a person, but wrong. Limbs bent at impossible angles, eyes black, hollow, staring from a face that stretched into a grin far too wide. It tilted its head unnaturally, and the whispering grew louder, more insistent. The The door slammed shut. The scratches on the walls seemed to move, forming shapes, hands, faces, screaming mouths. The figure stepped closer, its grin widening until it filled the whole room. The whispers became a deafening roar. "You can't leave! You can't leave!" Then silence. The door creaked open again, the room empty once more. Only the scratches remained, fresh and glistening, as if waiting for the next person foolish enough to enter. The silent passenger. Rain streaked the windshield as the car crept down the empty road. Headlights cut through the fog, illuminating nothing but wet asphalt and the occasional flicker of a roadside tree. The driver felt the unease grow, like something was moving just out of sight. Then in the rearview mirror, a shadow appeared. At first, it looked like a trick of the reflection, but as the windshield wipers swept across, the figure remained, pale, still, watching. The seat behind was empty, yet the shape lingered, its eyes locked on the driver. The car passed familiar landmarks, but the road seemed wrong now, narrower, bending in impossible ways. The driver reached for the brake, but the pedals were stiff, unresponsive. The shadow leaned forward, a thin, whispering voice barely audible. "You can't leave." Panic set in. The radio crackled, static filling the cabin, and the figure's whisper became a chorus, overlapping in dozens of voices, all chanting, all warning. The windshield fogged from the inside, breath visible but no one else in the car. Finally, a turn. A crash of thunder illuminated the back seat clearly, empty. But the driver felt the cold hand brush their shoulder. The mirrors reflected a dozen pale faces pressed against the glass, grinning. Then silence. The fog swallowed the road. The car rolled forward alone into the night, but the whispering voice remained in the driver's mind. "You are never alone." The body in the woods. It was raining hard, the forest slick and dark, when footsteps broke the silence. The path was overgrown, almost hidden, but something, curiosity or fate, pulled them deeper. At first, nothing seemed unusual, only the sound of rain dripping through the canopy and the occasional snap of a branch underfoot. But then a figure appeared, slumped against a tree. Wet clothes clung to pale skin, motionless. Closer now, they could see it wasn't breathing. The eyes were wide open, staring blankly at nothing. But the hands twitched, just slightly, as if the body was waking. A whisper of wind carried a voice, soft, urgent. "Help me." They reached out. The figure's head turned slowly, unnaturally, to face them. Mouth open, eyes empty, it let out a low, rasping laugh. Not human. Something had taken it. Suddenly, a second figure appeared behind the first, rising from the shadows. And then another. Shapes emerged from the rain-soaked forest, all pale, all grinning. The whispers grew, dozens of voices overlapping, chanting the same words. "You found us." The forest swallowed the scream, and when the rain passed, no footprints remained on the muddy path. Only the shadows watched.